Hi guys, this is Mike out from the Comic Book Syndicate. We just saw the latest and perhaps greatest Marvel Studios film, Captain Marvel. We're here to talk about it with our new pal Dana. But before we get to Dana, we're gonna start off with Bex Luther, only because she's the world's biggest Captain Marvel fan. So she's gonna lead us off.
I
Bex,
am.
what'd you
That's
think?
me. Look, I know I like garbage a lot. Like every review we've ever done, I've been like, it was a good movie. But
We'll get along.
I was like, don't worry about it. Like, just have a fun time. But this was genuinely like so emotional, so well done, so Miss Marvel, Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers, like to a T. And if you have any like love for the character at all, you're gonna go into it and feel very satisfied that they did her a lot of justice. I'm very overwhelmed. I'm also a grown woman, so don't anyone think I'm a little girl. Like, oh, that's so cute.
I did not cry during this film, but I did enjoy it. I thought my first impression is I really liked the action. I really liked all the characters, but I thought the dialogue was a little bit stilted. And every time people open their mouths, I was a little bit disappointed. Like every time Sam Jackson opens his mouth, I expect Quentin Tarantino dialogue to come out, and when it doesn't, I'm always disappointed. So other than that, though, I thought it was a really good movie.
I'm with you, Becca. I'm usually unabashedly in love with every single Marvel movie. I really loved this one. I do agree with Mike, though. It did take me out of it a couple of times. The dialogue I just found, I don't know, there was something, as you said, kind of stilted about it. Something a little bit, I don't know, it wasn't a Marvel movie. Like usually they're so witty, so snappy, and this one not quite as much. But I kind of, by the like last act, I think it kind of came together, and there was less of that, and I was enjoying the dialogue by that point. But other than that, I have no complaints, I think, about this movie.
I think that's my problem with the film is that, like, I don't have complaints, but I don't have, like, super high points that I'm really cheerleading.
So what did everybody think about Brie Larson as Captain Marvel? Becca, we'll start with you.
I guess she was okay.
Okay, no, I'll just say quickly, I thought she was good. Of course, I had this black cloud of all these incel idiots on the internet hanging over my head, and it did interfere with my, we'll use virgin interpretation of what she was going to be like, but I did think she did a good job. Yeah, that came
Come on, when she like spoiler alert, when she like goes full like almost binary mode and her hair starts flying up and everything like that, I'm like, that's a comic book cover right there. Like, I feel like she had the snark like right off the bat that Carol does. She like, and she got it. She was like, oh, I'm shit talking to cover up all the years of trauma, and I like was, as someone who does that all the time, I was like, yeah, that's exactly why I love this character. But once she got cast like 6 years ago as Captain Marvel, and I've been waiting for this movie forever, I was like, oh yeah, I could see that. Envy Adams from Scott Pilgrim. I was like, absolutely, and like, I think she nailed it. I don't think there was too much problem with her playing the character. Yeah, like some of the dialogue was maybe not the best, and like the action scenes were definitely awesome, and every part that she was in, I felt like she was the character 110%. But yeah, I mean, there would be no way I would go into this movie not loving her anyway. And like half of me was so like upset. I was like, what if I don't love it? And I'm like, well, you love everything. Like, so, like I don't understand why I had that fear, but I was like, oh, she nailed it. Like Brie Larson is a babe and a half, and she just, she's so cool. And like, she reminds me of like my cool aunt that's like 10 years younger than your mom, and like just like brings you like an unnecessary amount of candy on Christmas, and then you never see her again. Like,
It sounds like a specific person.
Yeah.
no.
Just generic. Okay, so Dana, what did you think, Captain Marvel?
She really grew on me. I think by the end of it, I was feeling all the same things that you were about.
You don't have to. You can say you didn't like it.
No, I like you, as I said. I genuinely like everything. So, yeah, and again, I think it was partly the some of the dialogue early on was kind of holding me back a little bit from buying in completely to everything. But again, it really, really grew on me, and she grew on me. And no, I thought Brie Larson did a great job, and she looked the part all the way through. And my favorite visual thing, I know we're talking about a character, but whatever. That mohawk, I love the mohawk. Oh my God, I loved that so much.
Is she supposed to be a robot? Like all of the other films, I don't have a lot of comics-based knowledge about the character, but it's not because I didn't want to. It's just I like to go in fresh. If I haven't read a lot, and I hear that there's a movie, I will purposely just not read, just so I have a virgin interpretation of the character. So I'm going to read now after this, but Yeah, she's just seemed Brie Larson as an actor is great. She was a great Envy Adams. She's wonderful in the room. Obviously, she won an Oscar for it. But she seemed a little robotic, and I don't think that is her acting. I think that's just the way she was written, or her interpretation of the writing she was given. Because there's the same sort of thing with Samuel L. Jackson. Because I watched an interview with him where he said it was hard to dial Nick Fury back because he didn't know how Nick Fury was before the Nick Fury he's used to playing, which is like very confident, very sure of S.H.I.E.L.D. and his position within. Yeah. And he's just like it's like a cop. Oh, this is also the best Coulson I've ever seen.
Brie Larson's Captain Marvel is going to mesh very well with the rest of the Avengers.
Too. I was
because she is at least like some of the Marvel characters, like they've been making Thor to be like more comedic and less like, oh, I am of Asgard. Like he's getting more like he's changed a bit. So
He's becoming American.
Yeah. I was worried that like
Yeah.
I was worried that that maybe Captain Marvel would be like another like, oh, I'm another brave hero, but she's like rash and makes bad decisions and is snarky but is good and like the definition of good, and it's just like I think Endgame's gonna be cool.
Yeah, I agree. And actually, I was thinking the same thing about how she would fit in with the rest of the Avengers, and I agree very much. And I think she brings something slightly different. Like she's not kind of just the female version of Captain America or Thor or Iron Man or whoever. Like she's her own specific person, I think. And so I think it'll be interesting to see how she interacts with everybody. And we got a little glimpse of that, which I always enjoy. But
A little glimpse of Chris Evans.
Okay, I'll just say that again. I'll go back to the dialogue. I do think it was a good movie, but it's almost like the plot was fine because it follows pretty closely to the comics. But I do wish the dialogue was better. Like it just seems so easy. Like they got all the money in the world, just hire the best dialogue writer in Hollywood and just get them to polish it up. But they didn't.
yeah, it was surprising to me because I think that's one thing. I mean, again, I have always loved all of the Marvel movies, but I feel like that the dialogue is one of the things that they have always done really, really well in every movie. So it was kind of surprising to me that it was so stiff and kind of stilted and not quite as funny as you expected it to be. I thought through the early part. There were definitely parts later on where I laughed out loud, and some of that was dialogue. But yeah, for me, that was the thing that I didn't love.
It almost like felt like they were trying to not be Guardians of the Galaxy, and they were like, we wrote a script, everyone needs to stick to it, and like the actors didn't really have a whole lot of freedom because like I'm sure Sam Jackson probably could have brought a lot more to that role had he been given more freedom, and I think Marvel was absolutely terrified to fuck this one up. Like there was. I mean, it's not like Wonder Woman did it already, guys. Like you're fine. Don't worry about it. Like she jumped those hoops for you. Like you don't have to shove the female hero into anyone's face anymore. You just have to have one. But I think they were just scared, and it kind of showed in the movie that they were like, this needs to be very formulaic. It needs to be by the book. We know what works. This has to work. It can't fail.
I think you're right. It was a little tentative in some ways. Yeah.
Played safe.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Again, I always go into these movies, especially Venom, to be like prepared for disappointment. And I wasn't disappointed, but I wasn't like super blown away. I think it will just take another watch, which I actually want to give this film. So also my mind had to process everything I knew about the Skrulls. So those characters I'm familiar with, and I'm pretty sure that the Skrulls are supposed to be evil.
Okay, so I guess the question is this going to satisfy the audience? Because let's be clear, we have to realize we're not the only people in the audience, right? There's other people in the audience. And I think everybody in the audience overall will like this film. I think it's going to make a lot of money. I think Captain Marvel is going to, go on to bigger and better things, right? There'll be a trilogy probably. Captain Marvel. Marvel movies can always be improved, but overall, I thought it was pretty good. And I'm grateful that they stuck fairly close to the source material, even though they did change a few big things that I'm sure will piss people off, but who cares? I still think it was good.
Yeah, like how many bad guys do you need in a movie? And then like
Refugees.
yeah, like
Yeah, that was an interesting element.
They didn't hide it, eh? They were just like,
No, it was right out there.
this is an allegory for Syrian refugees.
It was kind of a blunt movie in some ways, I think. But
Also feminism.
Also feminism! International Women's Day! Yeah, I agree. I think that most people will really enjoy this one. I think it's a good, exciting setup for Endgame. Yeah, I'm excited to see how she fits in with the rest of the gang. Yeah, recommend it. I can't say it was my favorite of the Marvel movies, but I love them all. So there you go.
Yeah. If in a sentence, the only thing I can think about now is the little girl who was in the bathroom on our way out, staring at the poster. Just staring at it. That is reason enough to go see this movie.
Yeah, that's a good thing to remember here, that like it is, I mean, I know we've had Wonder Woman, but like we need, the more female driven, not even just superhero movies, but action movies in general. And this was, it passed the Bechdel test. I wanted to say that's really important. Yeah. It passed quickly, and it passed really well, and it passed all the way throughout. And another thing that I really liked is that she didn't have a love interest. And I really liked that because she didn't need one. And there doesn't have to be a love interest every time for every female lead of a movie.
Yeah, and I was really worried that's why they cast Jude Law, that it would make it harder, because his role got leaked that he was like the bad guy, and I was like, oh great, so she's gonna love him and then not want to kill him. But she didn't love him. Yes.
No, she didn't care about him.
She just loved her best friend and her best friend's daughter and humanity. So yeah.
I mean, the found family trope is like so near and dear to me, because like if you've ever come from a family that's not perfect, you find your own, right? So it's like that, and her just relationship with Monica, and like little Maria and little Monica was so cute, and like just the amount of just like regular females interacting with each other. Like you had Minerva, who was like a badass sniper, and she acted like a badass sniper, and the only way you could tell she was a girl is because she kind of looked like one. Like that was about it. And then you had like these two amazing pilots who were best friends, and then tragedy struck, and then she still had to raise her daughter. And like even the scenes where they're talking, you see Nick Fury like is in the background of all of it until like shit starts to go down. But like
he's just in the back snuggling a cat. It's the best.
But, I mean, what more could you ask for? Also, no heels. Did you notice? You guys notice? No heels. I'm always looking for that.
There's no reason any woman in this movie should have been wearing heels, and
none of them
they didn't. Yeah, there was a lot of like, I'm a badass female woman tropes that were not in here. She was probably wearing heels in that end credits scene for sure. And then she was like, as soon as Brie Larson walked in, she was like, my hair's better. And it's like, nope, that's not what we're here for. But yeah, in a sentence, I mean, in a sentence, okay. It was okay. No, the little girl sitting in front of us, jumping up and down, and being so excited she couldn't contain herself was literally the reason this movie was made. And I mean, all the assholes on the internet need to realize that it's not all about you. It's not even all about me. And I've been waiting for this movie for my entire life. Like, this movie is not for me. It's the same reason like people get so upset at like so many things. It's like, it's not for you. Shut up. It's like, it's for children. It's for kids to see and to look at and go, oh wow, I can be good and I can be cool and I can be fun regardless of who I am or what I look like. So now I guess we just need some women of color leads. Yeah. So let's next time. Come on.
And it's taken a long time.
Yeah, well, you know what? I'm done waiting. Yeah. It's about time, said Wasp at the end of Ant-Man 1.
Yes.
I remember that.
Nice callback.